Tuna wageni watatu, Mheshimiwa Sebastian Kapufi mbunge, ambao ni wadau wa maendeleo kutoka Marekani. Wadau wa maendeleo kutoka Marekani, karibuni sana.
Container packed with supplies that need to make their way to families in Africa, like yesterday. You said this is a 53-foot trailer? This trailer is packed with medical supplies destined to the motherland. We need to help get these out of here. Are you tired of fighting with your wife or with your husband? Have you each retreated into your separate corners, not even trying to speak to each other anymore? Are your children witnessing a toxic marriage rather than a purposeful partnership? Hi, I am Shar, and I am an attorney mediator and experienced in helping families for the past 13 years navigate really challenging times. And I am here to help you. Husbands, hear your wives. Wives, hear your husbands. So together we can find the truth why your family is struggling and what it will take to get unstuck from cycles of misunderstanding and patterns of frustration. Join me live on YouTube on this Monday night at 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern, as I conduct a live mediation. And if you would like to be heard, if you would like to hash out a misunderstanding with your spouse here on our live, sign up now to apply for your free opportunity to mediate. And I look forward to seeing you Monday night.
Here we go. All right. Shalom. Salama. Siemi. Shalom. Greetings to all my Israelite brothers and sisters from around the world, whether you're of the bloodline of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the house of Israel, or you are a Gentile that's grafted into the house, who's grafted into the house under the blood of Yahushua HaMashiach. I welcome you this morning because it always feels like a Russian sub is watching me. But it ain't no fantasy. Oh my goodness. All right, family. I'm sorry. I was doing a mic check. I was texting in the background. So many things are happening all of a sudden, quick, fast, and in a hurry, trying to get some tea together. This is my allergy time of the season, especially as there's a tropical low developing, forming. That always wreaks havoc on my sinuses. Um, South Florida literally just got flooded. They're saying that rain was supposed to be in the Tampa area. Nah, that thing hit in South Florida, so that hit over right at my dad's doorstep down in the Boca area. So a lot of things coming. I think that to me, I'm just speculating. That may have been some weather manipulation so they can get them subs here closer. I'm just saying. There is no scientific basis around there. I'm just, you know, potentially speaking. What are they manipulating? Who knows? But what it does feel like is, yeah, I am allergic to subs. I'm sorry. I'm allergic to subs, nuclear radiation, any type of nuclear fallout. I'm allergic to fire. Uh, oh my goodness. So now the panic is on, but they're trying to not panic. I was mentioning this earlier. Look, they got to go through the initial shock and awe value. Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! And then they get lulled back to sleep. I look at it as, if anything does go down, I'm going to say this: if anything does go down, and that's not a question of if, but when something does go down, it'll go down in probably 3 or 4 months. And that Serbian president was, I can concur on that one. But as things go down, oh yes, trust and believe, family. The buildup is going to be happening in Cuba. But as the buildup's happening in Cuba, it's just like, okay, well, they have Havana. Are we also quick to forget that there's Guantanamo Bay that's there in Cuba? So there's going to be an inordinate buildup. And you have to remember, it's not just going to be Russians. There's going to be Chinese. I would argue to say that there's going to be Iranians, North Koreans, and other folks. Remember, the biggest war effort is not made with kinetic strikes. The biggest war effort is made with BRICS and countries joining BRICS. Nobody cares about. I'm going to tell you this: the West does not care about people like that. I mean, for real. Let me be as honest can be. Because if the West really cared about people like that, then they would have paid us reparations a long time ago. See, what people were doing all the while was compromising to compromise to compromise. Well, you want to know what? I'll have a good life in America, but what about the black folks there? It's one of those things. First compromise. Well, you want to know what? Stay, if I stay on their side, and I know that what they're doing is is a righteous cause, I know what they're doing is biblical, then I don't get the benefit. Second compromise. This is what we have dealt with over the last 400 years. And this is what they've dealt with over the last 400 years. You don't get to this level of revile that's being shown on the world stage by now many multiple nations. If you didn't have a basis or a foundation that had already been laid, and I'm sorry, it was already laid in the United States. And then what they tried to do was export the compromise to other nations, and some were saying yay and some rejected. And those that rejected were put on the list of conquest to be dealt with sooner or later, either through coups or outright war or other battles, as directed by you know who, starts with an R, ends with an E. that's located in central Italy. And now, literally, people say, well, it seems as though the script is being flipped. Yeah, yeah. And all their movies, they were always portrayed to be the what? The good guys. Chucky is one of my favorite movies when I was growing up as a kid. I don't know why that movie was funny. It was scary and it was funny, but it was the truth. The good guy doll. And don't you know they exported a ton of Chuckies over the world over the last 80 to 90 years? I'm the good guy. And they wanted to make themselves so unsuspecting. No, you see what we do. We fight for freedom and equality and all this other stuff. And then when you really truly look under the surface, that's not necessarily the truth. See, if you didn't understand over this age of the internet, this truth has been exported to multiple countries regarding how we live. And if you didn't understand the precipice of that back in 2018, 19, and 20, you've had a lot of, especially African nations, begin to get the memo about how the West felt about them, particularly the United States. They got mad when Trump had said "asshole countries," and then what that ended up happening, what ended up occurring, was that they had to do a self exploration of, is that what they truly think about? Is that how they truly think about us? And they began to see that the movie that they were being projected and fed wasn't necessarily the reality of what was on the ground. And now this becomes a great deal of concern because now the nations have essentially have woken up. And if you realize, and a lot of these Gentiles that saying we've been lied to, we awoke, we were this and we were that, and this is this and this is that. What they're understanding is they're waking up because it's not for the sake of knowing or knowledge. You have to understand their awakening isn't to awaken to truth and try to fix their ways and try to acknowledge their sins and try to repent. understand their awakening dynamic is a dynamic of, oh, we're sorry, we got found out. So we need to try to act like we care so we can try to come through with a different position, even if we have to throw some of our people under the bus, because that's what we do. We sacrifice here. Yafeth deletes Yafeth. Understand why they don't like when you bring up the table of nations in Genesis. Understand why they don't like it when you see Jasher. Understand why they don't like it when you read their history. Because why? That's what they are used to. Only the strong survives. And this is at the most critical break point that they're seeing their demise unfolding. We don't have to explain anything. They already know it. I think, to me, personally speaking, if you sat down with a Gentile and you said, can we have an honest conversation about what you are seeing in the Gulf, Cuba, south of Florida, what you are seeing, what you understand, what you perceive. Remember, they understand what self actualization is if you didn't understand Maslow and that hierarchy chart. They understand if you put something out there in the atmosphere, even for those that are saying, I'm not religious or I'm not that, guess what? They'll never tell you this. Why? Well, if I put that on out there, what do they always say? It's negative energy, and I'm not feeding into the negative energy. Because why? They know if they speak out against their demise or about their demise, it comes to pass. They know it's happening, but they think in their heart, well, if I don't say anything, it'll blow over, because if I mention it, then guess what? I will deal with the repercussions. In a way, it's a very, I would say, an amalgamation of a perversiveness of scriptural understanding. I don't believe in the Bible. I don't believe in the Most High, but I know and I understand what those biblical context is. Because why? Because it's baseline in this culture and in their culture. Don't speak it out, because if you speak it out, it'll come to pass. Don't say it, because if you say it, it'll come to pass. Speak positive. Isn't that what they say? Look, you speak positive, even when you know you're about to be judged. Speak positive. Do you understand why the trolls have been showing up? The trolls are showing up because they're scared, because they understand what that word says. They're scared because they understand Obadiah, Joel chapter 3. We've been saying this. Don't think that they haven't been listening. They've been listening the whole time. I've said that. There are Gentiles that listen on this platform, on this channel. They listen because they want to know the truth. And when we say the truth shall set you free, now they're beginning to realize that if the truth sets them free, then what will they be free from? And now they're starting to see that there's about to be some literal shackles being thrown on this nation. Well, I listen to black people because you want to know what? They haven't been wrong. I don't like what they're saying, but they haven't lied. It doesn't feel good listening to what they're saying, but it's the truth. So now they're going to have, now they're literally being forced to come to terms and to come to grips with reality. Because now, all of a sudden, that theological approach of what they hear from their leaders, well, that's no longer holding weight. And that to them now, I'm going to tell you this is what scares them. They're now having to deal with this reality that's literally 90 miles south of Florida. And I'm going to tell you, man, these trolls are going to be up here big time. Because they have to be. Because when you understand that they now understand, that they're now starting to get, now they're starting to realize that everything we've been saying all the long is the truth. Well, where'd you get that truth from? We've been telling you this truth is in these scriptures. So why are you not panicking? Because we understand we serve an awesome heavenly Father. His name is Yahuwah. Aren't you scared? No, because our strength is in him, our protection is in him, and he's going to lead us and guide us to get back to the land of our forefathers from where we were taken. We're going back home. And this is the process. Well, aren't you scared about the process? Aren't you scared about what happens? Listen, the scriptures already have declared what's going on. All we're doing is looking, seeing, taking notes. So then we are being obedient and we're passing down these notes to our generations after us. This was what we were seeing when we left. And everything that was declared had come to pass. Well, it feels like it's all scripted. Yes, it is. Let me give you those scriptures to tell you how it's all scripted. Let me show you Jeremiah 50 and 51. Let me show you Ezekiel chapters 37, 38, and 39. Let me show you Isaiah 60 through 63. Chapter 60 through 63. Actually, it's really chapter 60 through 66. Let me explain to you Revelations. Because now we're seeing the end of this movie playing out. What was this movie called? The Captivity of Yasharel. An epic classic. It'll be an 8-hour motion picture movie. Da 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 da. It's not a western. Manifest Destiny and all that other stuff. We're going through the mountains to get to the west. Dun 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 dun. No, it was about our punishment and our judgment to these nations. It was about our name being erased from our memories. It was about the Most High judging his people thoroughly. And it was about how the Most High, through his grace and his mercy and his love, redeemed his people. And it's not for our sakes, it's for his. And how we had to go through the test, even in the lands of our captivity, how we had to trust and believe in him, even when things seemed daunting, and how we had to go through the fire. There's no free walk on this. I'm sorry. I'm an Israelite and I'm going to just get okay. Keep saying so. Just let me know where you're at so I can stay far away from you. We're seeking out our own self salvation in what? In fear and in trembling. Well, I'm better than this person. I'm better than them. I have this bloodline. Is that what the word says? Because there's another flock. We're just trying to get back and be covered under the blood of Yahushua HaMashiach. For those that are more concentrated on the punishment and the destruction of our enemies, you realize what you're doing, right? You're condemning yourself to see that same destruction, because that's not the goal. That's not the prize. The goal is to escape the punishment, not to endure and be overcome by that punishment. See, our flesh will really, really trip us up, because don't you know they want us to go through the same thing that they're going to get ready to go through? And the way that we get caught up in this snare is that we go through our own flesh. Oh, trust and believe things are going to start popping off probably here very, very shortly, if not this week. You know, they start going crazy on the weekends. People talk about, oh, we're in an age where now the spiritual door has been open and all this spiritual stuff, like they really have an understanding of what's happening. No, these folks just saw nuclear capable subs and ships with hypersonic missiles park on the dock of America's doorstep, and now they're panicking. And when you're fearful and when you panic, guess what? You make mistakes. When you're fearful and when you panic, you're going to start to do things that's outside of your characteristics. This is what they're panicking about. Do we retaliate? Do we act? Do we do this? Do we do that? Because now they're in a catch 22. If we react to Russia, if we send something on over there, if we provide a provocative action, then we're in trouble. If we just let this thing go, if we just, have them have unadulterated, unfettered access to Cuba, then we'll be seen as weak. And then the nations will only run and hasten our demise because they're going to run with their dollars. Does everybody see this calculation? I'm giving you from the analytical viewpoint. Does everybody see this calculus? How is the whole world, how is the whole hammer broken asunder? Well, you break things as you break every other thing, every other person in the United States, in the West. You don't have to break people with just tactical munitions and displays. You know how you break people? You break them in their finances. You have to understand what was done to us is actually truly a blessing. And having the amount of resources constrained because we are a people that are pragmatic, practical, and innovative. And we'll learn how to get along and maneuver and work things on out. You want to know what happens when their resources are constrained? They start to rob people. They start to go back to their nature. Instead of being collaborative, they get competitive. And then they get dangerous and violent. So I'm going to say if I were a Russian strategist, I would say just keep building up. Sign some more agreements for Cuba, get this on in here, get that on in there. They're not going to be able to do any type of embargoes. Get some commercial ships on in there, build Cuba on up, start modernizing everything. What are they going to do? Here's what they, and you know the answer. They can't do anything. They're not going to do anything. Well, we need to do this or do that. Yeah, right. Because the problem in the bottom line is they can't strike first. The Cobra Kai mentality is thrown out the window. If they were going to strike first and strike fast, they would have done that before them Russian ships and that Russian sub rolled past the Treasure Coast, the Space Coast, the First Coast, all them coast, and the Keys. And they took their time doing it. The only thing that I have to question about that whole display that happened on Monday and Tuesday, the only thing I have to question was if they were playing Ludacris's 2 miles an hour so everybody sees you. 2 nautical miles an hour so everybody sees you. They're on deck just wilding out. You know, y'all know you can't do that. You can't do nothing. You can't. Unfortunately, the Pentagon will never release those photos. 2 nautical miles an hour so everybody sees you. Let's get it. Oh my goodness. Oh man. So now think about what you are seeing. You're literally seeing their pride being ripped up. You're seeing their places of comfort and their vanity being shredded up. Wait, you all are supposed to be the big bad wolf, and you literally just had a naval parade by Russia in the Atlantic Ocean less than 200 miles away from you. What is going on? And now you're starting to see how the Most High is moving because it's more than just a kinetic action. Are we going to get there? Absolutely. That's exactly what the word says. But when and how we get there is a slow dismantling of their pride. It is. because now you have a divide and you have a division that's taking place right now in the capital. To strike or not to strike, and on top of that is if you don't strike, you've now ceded your national security. Now you have to understand there's a fight taking place within their innermost sanctums, their innermost circles. Now you understand why Obadiah is so critical. And now I'm telling you, these folks in DC are very scared because who will try to do the soft coup first? Will it be a soft coup or a hard coup? Will they try to do a Article 25 or will they just try to do a governmental takeover with a militaristic takeover? And here's the thing, they don't want to admit it, but that's what's on their minds. Sister Chantel, what does the end of this movie look like to you?
Not good, that's for sure. Shalom to everybody in the chat. You were saying something that was quite interesting, that if it's to move or not to move, that is the question. If they don't do anything, it's bad. If they do something, it's bad. The thing is, yeah, is that, like you were saying, that they're never going to say they're in a wartime economy, but they also understand, if you don't do anything, you're perceived as weak. You no
Yes.
longer are the secure currency. You're not secure anymore. So there is no reason for anybody to want to do business with you on the economic level. Your status as being the secure dollar is over. It's not secure anymore, and that's it. And it's looking more and more unfavorable, not only because for a lot of countries it's like, well, are they going to sanction us for anything and everything if we don't, they were paying attention to what they were doing to the Africans. Oh, if you don't go along with this, sanction. If you don't go along with that, sanction.
Yep.
you know so and now it's like, do we even want to bank with this? Do we want to do any business, anything with these people? I don't want their currency anymore. Not only is it, you can't trust that they're going to turn on you, but you can't trust the stability of their currency anymore. It's over. So they don't do anything. I don't think people realize just how bad it is. I mean, look, everyone, like any Gentile that's listening, the Israelite community has been telling you, you get, especially in America, you guys are so, not you, but you guys are so wowed and ooh and bedazzled by all the glitz and glamour that Hollywood has to offer. And it's like, even watching your adverts is like, oh my gosh, really? And it's like, it's like, you don't you don't actually pay attention to what's actually happening. So everybody's watching and paying attention except you. And then you're wondering why your dollar it doesn't have the power that it once had, because everybody's dropping it. Your dollars are now returning back to you. People don't want it. And as a result, you are where you are now. This thing about, well, all that pride that you had, we're American, like, it doesn't mean anything. People are like, your comeuppance is coming up very soon. It don't mean anything. And I'm not reveling in this. This is, I, you want it to happen because it means our freedom, but you don't want it to happen because it's like you understand the destruction this is going to curtail. This is, none of us actually understand just how bad it is. We're
Oh no,
seeing it, and
it's
it's
bad.
just, it is really bad. It's real bad. It's real bad. And it branches out into so many different avenues. It's crazy. Just that alone, it's like we're not going to engage in them. We're not going to engage in them. We'll just, ignore them and just pretend like they're not here. Go away, go away. We're not going to engage. And if we don't engage with them, then But the thing is that with the glitz and the glamour, your media has suffocated your brain in believing that you're winning. You never were winning. You didn't understand that Putin was playing the long con. He has studied you.
But I
You
thought
put
DJ Khaled said that we're gonna win, 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 no matter what, and we're just gonna throw our hands in the air and just stay there.
He
That's
lied. He lied.
you
And,
told
and
me
what team
DJ
is he on?
Khaled lied.
What team? Yeah, he
No.
lied. He lied. He lied to you. I'm sorry, Gentiles. He lied to you. Not only that, who is he? Where's he from? Who's his
Mm,
people?
mm,
You've been deceived. You've been deceived. And
mm.
don't expect us to come and fight your wars. Well, you live here too. We're going back home.
Let me
Every man shall return back to his own place.
let me show you something. This is just on Twitter under bricks. If you look and you just see bricks, this is from a post by Jackson Hickle. I don't know who he is, but I'm just seeing this. I can't verify the numbers that's being reported, but I just want you to kind of get an idea of what people are feeling and what they're seeing. So this Jackson Hickle, he is an American. He has his little flag and he's got his blue check mark for whatever that means. 30% of the so it says here, BRICS is winning 30% of the Earth's landmass, 45% of the Earth's population, 33% of Earth's GDP, 3% more than the GDP of the G7 countries. So the next one, this one to me, this is the shock and awe right there. If you didn't know the tumble, this is why you get the tumble. This is from Bricks News. It has a gold check mark. I don't know what that really means. So whatever whatever that entails. But it says Saudi Arabia's 50-year-old petrodollar agreement with the United States has expired with no new agreement in place. Saudi Arabia will now sell oil in multiple currencies. You realize that the oil was being sold in the dollar. It was an exclusive contract of the dollar, including the Chinese, RMBs, euros, yen, yuan, instead of exclusively in US dollars. Sister Chantal, what do you say?
Like I said already, it's over. Turkey is now leaving. They've been begging to be part of the euro, and they've had um, their application denied so many times. And it's like, I think the BRICS kind of reached out to them, and it's like, you know what? I see which way the wind is blowing.
Yep.
They're heading over to the BRICS. So that's another punch in the gut to the Western powers. You know, it's getting really, 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 really bad. Like really bad.
Yeah. No, it is. And you have to understand, they're going to try and bring up so many distractions, this week and this month because, yeah, I saw that too, Avon, Dylan. I was trying to find that in the scroll. But you have to understand, not Oh, I don't know if that's real. I said,
What's real?
it said Dubai lights up the world's tallest building, Burj Khalifa, to honor Russia Day. I don't know if that's actually real. So
That would be funny though.
some of this stuff I just kind of have to, I don't know. But Vladimir Putin opened the BRICS 2024 games. So is the BRICS games now bigger than the Olympics? Because yeah, this is
You got more countries leaving. It's
yeah,
like the Olympics
yeah.
is just going to be based on the. It's just going to be the Greeks again. It'll be the originals.
Oh my, yes, yes. Wow. I'm telling you, family, we are seeing. Yeah, everybody's going to start jumping ship. This is what Cuba is all about. It's not so much of a launch of nuclear weapons, but it's going to be of a reaction that's going to be done by the U.S. I'm
Yeah,
telling you.
I was just going to say, I kind of suspect that Russia won't have to do anything. It's just, I'm just going to park up right here
Yeah,
and just watch the show. And they're just going to, they'll consume themselves because fear.
yeah. Fear will cause people to go crazy. Fear causes a panic. Panic will cause an emotional reaction. That emotional reaction will cause a big mistake. How many folks have perished because of fear?
Millions
Do you know
on
when
something
people
4 years ago.
when people the only reason that people really drown is because of fear, because they get fearful. They're not regulating themselves to have their natural buoyancy work for them, and they end up drowning. It, what say you, Sister Chantel? Yeah, you're on mute, or
Sorry.
she said she was on the road.
I'm
She's doing
just
her
about to head out.
she's doing her roadman duties. You
I
know,
am,
she's
man.
it's getting
It's
tough on out there in them UK streets. She's gotta do her roadman duties. She gotta get on the road, mom. She gotta get on the road.
I don't even know what to like. The weather is getting on my nerves. It's like 1 minute it was the sun was out. Now it's I had to put on a coat because I think it's gonna rain. But yeah.
Oh man. And
But yeah, go on.
so you know when you look at this calculus here, I think the only thing that people can do or say is, "Wow, wait, I thought the U.S. was this. I thought the U.S. was big and bad. I thought." And you're now seeing folks
Thought
saying, "Well, I'm not going to be involved in this. I got to jump ship." Why? Because people are looking out for their interest. They're looking out for their interest. If you're the last
you
one
guys hear
on the
me?
sinking ship, yeah, we can hear you now, Sister Chantel.
Okay, sorry. I didn't hear anything.
Yeah, people don't want to be the last ones on the sinking ship. People want to have their interest control, or they want to have their interest. And as folks are now getting ready to leave the dollar, that just tells you this dollar is sinking, and it's sinking fast. Quick,
Mm.
fast, and in a hurry.
Yeah. The rats will get off the ship long before they do.
Mm. Yeah, this is. I'm telling you, family, this is something that I don't know what else to say, how else to say it, but I'm gonna tell you that when things pop off, it's not a question of if, it's when. When things pop off, cue the false flag. What do you think? 60, 90 days?
Well, I saw that 90 days is what's being put out there. 3 months. So
Another September 11th, potentially.
a time where the West don't want to handle something like that, when winter, autumn, you guys call it fall, when that starts to kick in,
Hmm.
and that's when the Eastern powers, that's when they shine. They know how to operate in the colder seasons.
I kind of look at it like this. You see what's happening. The dollar's getting messed up.
Mm.
You do a false flag, then that gives about 90 to 180 days to respond. So you can make it in the winter, get things shipped on over around March, April timeframe. And then you can go to war with the narrative of look at what they did and how they responded.
Morning.
When-
Shalom, brother Asaph. Y'all are
Shalom.
on the island. Y'all are on the island.
Shalom. Shalom.
Shalom, Uncle Asaph. How you doing?
I had
You're
technical
very
difficulties.
low. You're very low.
Actually, more muffled than low.
Right. Let me just sort.
Have you got your headphones? Is it kind of entwined in your clothes?
Right. Can you hear me now?
Yes, you're
Much
much
better.
better.
Yeah, we're going through some interesting times here. You know, I was watching a bit of the Labour conference on the news, and the new government is not going to change direction.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as the BRICS currency is concerned, it's also going to affect the pound and the euro. But
Yep.
because if other countries are trading in their own currency, they won't need to go through any kind of European or American exchange to change their currencies. So the value of the euro and the value of the pound also will also go down significantly.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's they're all tied together. It's a whole system, Western system, pounds, dollar, euro. It doesn't matter. They're all synced up with one another. So if one falls, the other falls.
That's right, and it's going to be a domino effect. You know, none of the political analysts don't want to go there because they don't want to cause panic because everybody trades on emotion and the news.
Exactly.
I just watch their face when they start talking. You can see the panic in their face, even if their mouth is lying.
It is. It is. What does the word say? Look, I hate to say it, but the word does say it. Look,
No, you
they
don't.
just lie. They lie. Look,
You don't hate to
they're a
say
bunch
it.
of
Just say it.
they're liars. That's what the word
There you
says.
go.
They're liars. So they have to lie. So when they lie to themselves, they want to believe the lie that they are under the group lie, right? And then you tell
Mm.
them, well, what does it say? What does this article say right here? What does the Miami Herald say? What does the Washington Post say? What does the Associated Press say? Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I can't see it. I'm blind now. Selective blindness. They get selective blind. I can't see anything. Up, something's in my eye.
I'm legally blind.
Exactly. I went to the optometrist yesterday, and I can't see nothing. I can see certain things. I can't see that. Come on now. And all they're doing is they're making themselves look silly because here's the thing. We're asking the questions. So what do they plan to do to get out of this? They already know what they have to do. They already know what they're going to do. They just don't want to admit that they're getting ready to do this.
Well, it's like I said. Sorry, excuse me, wind. Now, it's like
Oh, we
hold
can't
on.
hear you. Yeah, you're too much in that wind. Yeah, we can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're better. You're better.
Yeah, it's got the covering of a building. Yeah, it's like that guy said. They're all in their individual bubbles, and that's what they're going to do. They're going to maintain those individual bubbles, but it's going to be even worse. It's like what you were saying. They just become more violent. That's how you know who the people are. When we are pressed, we come together, and even the atheists amongst us, look, pray for me, yeah? I might not believe, but pray for me. I need a little bit of that prayer. You know, we all come together and we're all praying and we're all kind of trying to help each other along. They're not like that. They want to think and believe that they are, but they're not. When things go wrong, they get bad, real bad. That's why I say, like, as going forward, stay away from them. I know it sounds horrible, but we are our own island.
Oh, they'll break camp real quick. So let me tell you how dynamics goes. Remember, there are news stories and news articles on out there about being the most selfish generation ever, right? Being the most intrinsically focused generation ever. And we were seeing this because that was the dynamic, right? Got to do for me, forget everybody else, do for me, right? What was the whole dynamic literally about 5-6 years ago? YOLO, I do me and I do this and I do that,
Yeah.
forget everybody else. What does that do? That gets you primed for destruction. Because why? Because everyone that scatters to their own devices are the first ones to get picked off. You do not have a line of defense. So if you don't have a line of defense, you will then suffer. This is what's going to happen here in the United States. Everybody is going to be like, all right, I'm out. Texas is gone. Florida's gone. Peace. I had said this, I think 3-4 weeks ago. I said I wouldn't doubt if Florida's the first one to bounce. And that's just because of our proximity to Cuba.
Yeah, every state is going to become their individual country.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what it wasn't us. It was those eastern states. It was the Northeast, particularly New York, Virginia, Pennsylvania, all them. See, we were trying to be good. We were trying to be nice to our Caribbean neighbors. And people are looking at me like, yeah, right, that's a lie, Brother Karras. Thou never see that happening. Oh, that's nothing. We'll always come together. And I'm like, do you see that they have been putting out legislation of when national debt arises, folks are bouncing. New Hampshire has literally a circuit breaker of if the national debt goes above 40 trillion, they're out. Why?
I mean,
Because when you get to that level of 40 trillion, you're never coming back. You're never coming back. Go ahead, Sister Chantel. Go ahead.
sorry, I was sneezing. Hay fever. Or it could be the fumes from the bus. I don't know. We kind of can see where this is heading. They're not agreeing with each other, these states. I mean, when you see their representatives call like one person calling the next person names and stuff like that, bleach bronze. I can't even remember the rest. When you see that, it's like, Yeah, it's over. I mean, they do that over here in the UK in Parliament, but they've been doing that since the formation of Parliament. They've been like that. They can be catty, but you guys have not been like that. You have this fake nicety about you. Sorry, I say you. I don't mean you. I think everyone in the chat knows that I'm not talking about Yasharel. We know we're talking about them, but they have a fake niceness about them. It's the same thing that a lot of women on TikTok have been saying, like with that fake smile that they like to do, and their howdy doodies and whatnot. It's like it's all fake, and now the mask is coming off, and they can't help themselves. They they have to show their true self, and as a result, everything's going to start to break down. Everything's going to start to just dysfunction, and now we're like I said, we're going to start seeing every state is going to start moving like independent nations.
Okay, Tony Yahoo says, didn't France try and be a BRICS nation? Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
I tried it and failed miserably.
And it failed
like
badly.
China must have looked at them like, and South Africa is like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Like, you got a West Africa in your grasp and you're asking to be a BRICS nation. Are you yourself?
They're trying to
crazy.
And
Britain.
Yeah, and Britain. Yeah, both of them. Look, they were all right. They were both trying to jump ship. All right, since you said that, you got that one coming. All right, thank you. They were both trying to jump ship last year. Because why? Because they could see this happening. These European nations are not dumb. I'm telling you, all right. Do you know that their calculus has now changed with Ukraine? With everything. The calculus has changed. Oh, y'all want to come up in here and invade Russia? Y'all want to try to do this? Y'all saw what we put on out there. Has anybody over the last now 48 to 72 hours, has anybody heard anything of the saber rattling in Europe so far? It literally went silent. They're just doing stuff to just try to continue to keep face, but it's literally gone silent in the EU and things of that nature. Sister Chantel, why don't you shed some light about the European parliamentarian votes and things of that nature? You're on mute if you'd like to talk, or you're probably still doing your roadman duty. She's having somebody up. She's got to get her peas, fam. She's got to get her peas. But earlier, was it this week or last week? They had European parliamentary elections. And a lot of what happened was that these countries went to the right. And when you go to the right and you're being conservative, you're not necessarily looking towards more of the Western type influence. They're now trying to say, okay, we need to do things that actually support what we're doing here in these countries. And yes, Letitia Smith, yes, they are the French citizens are in the streets protesting. They know what this thing's about to look like. And the more that they're losing the Sahel and the West African nations and ECOWAS, so the African nations right now are in the middle of a mutiny with Europe. They're in the middle of a mutiny with Europe. Sister Chantel, would you like to add or comment on this?
I was just going to talk about the parliament, or what's the state of the government, especially in Labour. Labour is well, it's always been left leaning, or just left. It was supposed to be like the poor man's party, the working class, but now it's nothing like that. It is now becoming more right wing, and there's a lot of Labour MPs that have been complaining that they are destroying the left. They're literally getting rid of everything. They're becoming more right leaning,
Hmm.
and it's caused a lot of people to leave, and to be, there's a lot of MPs that are disillusioned, as well as I don't know if any of you know of there's um, one member of parliament. Her name's called Diane Abbott. She's black, and she gets so much stick. She goes through so much racism. She has been, I think she was the first black politician, and she's gone through so much. They're so rude, they're so abusive, and this is the same country that likes to turn around and say we're not racist. That's America. You have it good over here. I don't know what you're talking about, but it's becoming really bad. It's becoming really bad. You don't feel it so much on the ground. I mean, you do, but you don't. But it's when you're in corporate, when you're basically working in a city, working in London and everything. That's where you feel it. You'll feel the racism. You'll see the racism. It's just getting really bad. That's all I can say.
Well, if you can see it, guess what? The whole world is seeing it. And now when people start to lose their grip on what they understood was their reality of sorts, it becomes very difficult to try to readjust. You're not going to have they're not going to have things just be taken away. Absolutely not. They're going to fight, and they're going to fight until the end. The question is always, when they fight, what's that fight going to look like? And remember, folks on out here don't play fair. Oh no, there's going to be some underhanded, you know, this, devious transactions happening.
They don't play fair anywhere. It's just yours is a little, no, sorry. Yours is a lot more open and upfront. These ones over here, and in, no, not, no, because Italy, France, they're just as bad. But yeah, in this country, oh, they like to hide. They like cloak and daggers. That's what they like to do. But yeah, they're
They'll
all
smile in your
they're
face and
all
then stab
bad.
you in the back.
All of them. Every single, because they're all cut from the same cloth. We know where they came from. We know
Yeah,
who and what they are.
yeah. Asaph, you're muffled a little bit. Go ahead.
It's quite windy out here.
Yeah, y'all are there
It,
in the UK experiencing that wind.
Uncle, you outside as well?
It's those whirlwinds. Those whirlwinds are coming.
Yeah, it
Oh,
is very windy today. It wasn't like this yesterday,
um,
but it's definitely windy.
well, yeah, I'll be in that wind here in
and
another little bit.
the internet is terrible now. All the channels that are broadcasting the truth that we're broadcasting now, they're all being inhibited. You can't hear properly. You can't get any sort of service properly. We're being gently shut down.
I told you. Look, didn't I say that literally like what 2-3 months ago? I said we're about to go through what an economic, well, not really economic, information warfare. We're going
Yeah,
through
and
an
then they're gonna say,
information warfare.
Yeah, then they're going to say, "Oh, we haven't got the bandwidth because of emergency situation and such like, and we're going to have to shut your channel down."
Yeah. Sister New being me, shalom. All right.
Shalom. Shalom, family.
Shalom, fam.
I'm bringing you up here, Sister New being me, because we have to talk about Rudo and Haiti
Mm-mm-mm.
and all of the other, I would say, francophone countries that are now really rejecting. They're now overtly, not overtly rejecting.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's Haitian Revolution 2.0, or it's the African Revolution 2.0. You know, it's awakening up. It's really, we are really at the precipice. You feel? It's really, like you said, I like to say the francophone and the francophonies. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's I really I really can't say anything. I want to parler en français, parler en créole. It's just so much. We just have to be in prayer. It's falling down hard. Now, you know, I want to first I'm just calling to say that last conversation you had the last couple of days have been so eye-opening, especially with Sister Shar, with
Mm-hmm.
the whole judgment games. You feel this is where we're at. We are seriously in the judgment games. And what you were saying, and Brother Mikael and Brother and Sister Chantel yesterday morning was so um, eye opening. But one thing that left me was what Brother Mikael had mentioned in the book of Esdras. We do not need to fear. We just need to keep on going through the tribulation and know that we're winning. The great thing is with IET, everybody sees the truth now. You know, we've been talking about it. You know, we've silently IET has been in economic judgment for the last 220 years.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that everybody sees the game, how they run the game, how they've always run the game, and how the time is running out for them, you know, in terms of the wicked ones, you know. Um, One thing I just wanted to say is looking at America or the US and the West, European nations, the US is very interesting. It's almost like it's like the institutionalized child of the West, right? Especially of Europe, especially of England. Like that institutionalized child that's been like uh, just inebriated, drugged, fed a bad diet, given lies. And now, as the aging, you know, European nations are aging, they're hoping that their last remaining son or daughter, Babylon crazy daughter, is going to save them out of this. And it's not going to happen. Do you understand that analogy? Yeah, we see it go around us every day here, even here in the United States. We have people who have multi-million dollars and their children have much problems. And as they're aging, they have no choice but to pass this wealth to an incompetent and a wicked youth. So this is what's happening. This is how I see the story ending. And you know, just even looking at some of the books, Enoch 44, Esdras, all these books are telling us we will win, and they ain't going nowhere. They just perishing. So I give thanks. Thank you so much for thinking and bringing up IET, and I thank the Most High that that ministry will come to IET for in terms of scriptures, in terms of who we are, in terms of even that remnant, that first kidnapped group of people from the from the Igbo nation that really was forgotten, that really forgot who they were and were forgotten. So I thank you so much, Karis, for putting me on and everyone, our family in the Hebrew nation, remembering IET and hoping. But we just need prayer and literacy. and getting in them books. Getting in them books. Give thanks.
Well, you have to understand the whole thing of domination and dominating a society is to now you have to make folks illiterate, right? Jacoba brought this up Tuesday afternoon, and they were talking about, children potentially being homeschooled and things of that nature. Schools shutting down in the United States. I'm like, surprise, surprise.
That's funny considering that they were very asinine when it came to parents that were homeschooling. They wanted they wanted the children in the schools so they could indoctrinate them. Now all of a sudden they're trying to get them out of the schools. They're shutting the schools down. That this is really interesting.
Exactly. So the level of indoctrination, I guess, it hit the point that it's, well, the parents are going to then care for their kids' education. And I'm going to say this, that is terrible, because here's the thing. It's like 25% of the parents actually care about the kids' education or can actually do anything to help with their kids' education. That's 25%, because everybody here is trying to have 2, 3, even 4 jobs just to survive. So then how are you really going to be able to help out your child that's going to get some sort of, AI program of you need to be at this level. And then if you're not at that level, you just get socially promoted like idiocracy.
Yeah.
You
That's
know where I see this going? So I was just gonna say I see this going like Oliver Twist. You're gonna have child labor. I really do
Bingo.
see that.
There you go.
Mummy and daddy work day. Come to work with mummy and daddy.
Coming to
Do
work.
some of your work. Yeah, do your school work at work with mummy and daddy. And then before you know it, they'll slowly shift them into where the children will be, working, because that's pretty much what they were doing. That's what they were doing over here. I know that's what they were doing over in the States as well. This is what the Europeans were doing. Anyway.
Yeah, it's a modern day slavery plantation.
Yep.
And may I say, thank you, Father. Thank you for bringing this up. This is exactly what has been happening in the IET. Like, education is so expensive that literally some parents give their children up in what they call rest avec, basically to stay with, right? Stay with this family. They clean, they cook. They are little slaves. And sometimes they go to school. Sometimes. And
Yep.
when they do go to school, it's like late at night, and then they or afternoon, and then they gotta take off their clothes and go back and rest avec and make dinner, clean, wash up. And some of these kids are doing homework, my friend. Some of these children are doing homework in the streets under the only light that's out there. I mean, that's for the lucky children, okay? So that is definitely slavery again and again. It's like a neo, techno, new slavery that this is happening. They want to make our children dumb, and they've seen it happen with the YouTubes and all this other stuff.
Yes.
They've dumbed down our
YouTube
children
and
with
TikTok.
roadblocks. Anybody seen how the epidemic, the roadblocks epidemic?
Oh my goodness, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
They have our children. It's a social experiment, and they make them dumb. They are dumb as bricks. And here's Jay-Z. Again, it's that same slave master, mulatto or upper class. Again, if you're looking at IET, they've had, the whole imperial, their whole imperialization model. You have ones that control us through different social structures, color structures, economic structures, academic structures, by any means necessary. So yes, so that is what it is. They just want to make everybody illiterate so they can just pass everything off, just like they've done in IET, but the gig is up.
Exactly.
Well, talking about
go ahead,
roadblocks.
Brother Isaiah. Go ahead.
talking about roadblocks, my 15-year-old taught
You're breaking up.
himself how to program stuff to give him advantage.
You are breaking up, brother Asaph. Yeah, those internet cables looks like they're about to get cut. Them undersea cables are probably getting cut. Oh boy. Mm. But no, so there's a lot of facets that's going on here, and people aren't talking about this. They're not talking about what's getting ready to happen, because in order to be enslaved, enslavement doesn't happen in the first generation. It doesn't happen in the second. It's about the third or fourth generation to where, number one, you can't read. So about really realistically, it's about another 40, 60 years. Hey, we have to work. Why? Because we have to pay off what we've done. And to do that now, hey, we have a on the job model that you learn what you need to learn from the age of 3. Education is the cornerstone, and lack thereof is literally the cornerstone to being a person placed into servitude. And if you don't know how to have education, guess what you're going to learn, or guess what you're going to have happen? You're going to continue to have health problems, and your health problems is going to diminish your economy. Because here's the thing, that's what happens on the continent right now. And they're walking right into that same judgment model. I don't know how else you can say it. I don't know how else you can spell it on out. My brother, he is in the Vancouver, Washington school district. And the Northwest is going through rounds and rounds of layoffs. Understand, they can't even afford to have these kids in the schools because they really can't afford to keep the schools open. Because nobody can pay taxes. So if you're not bringing in a tax base or a tax revenue, you're going to have to shut down some schools and lay off some teachers and lay off some staff, or tell the teachers, if we can pay your salaries, you have to stay home and you have to do everything online. And online never really works. You have to have, especially for children, they have to have that social connectivity. That's elementary education. Well, you'll be socialized with your family, with your mom, with your dad, with whomever. That's the amount of socialization you need, and that's not it. Because then who actually oversees the kids doing what they're going to do? No one. Because you want to know what those kids are going to be doing? I'm going to play Call of Duty. I'm going to play Fortnite. I'm going to play Roadblocks. I'm going to play whatever is on out there. And our friends are just playing online. I saw that with my son 4 years ago. My oldest. That he was just on the computer. Just doo-doo-doo-doo. Did you get your schoolwork done? Yeah.
They don't. These children don't even like to play. You bring a couple of them together, and they will. Next thing you know, devices will bust out, and you have to be like, nah, go outside, yep. Run around. But it is sometimes really. It's like, what? No, we're not doing that. But yes, they don't even like to play. My son, who's 14, just mentioned that. He's like, the children that are younger than me, they don't like to play. They don't like to do anything. He was just realizing that they don't like to have fun.
Mm-mm.
They just on devices. They on they take things, and he said they taking things. A lot of children under him, like in junior high school, they are taking things so serious right now. So that says a lot. So they are so under pressure at
Yeah,
the same time.
because
If
they
he
don't know
feeling
how to deal, and they don't know how to have social outlets, and the lack of sociability is creating these types of situations. They don't know how to interact with one another. That is crazy. They're not being able to interact. This is the fall of a nation, the fall of an empire, and it's happening very, very quickly in front of our eyes.
That's why a lot of these kids are becoming very, very violent.
Yes.
My children, they want to be outside all the time. They do play with their consoles and whatever. But my daughter, she likes to be into everything. She can't sit still. She will play a little bit with her console. Then she wants to be designing some dresses. Then she's doing something else. And she's doing something else. And she's like, "Mommy, can we do some baking now?" I'm like, okay. So yeah, I don't know.
that's
I
good.
think if you, well, yeah, I think if you keep the children, uh, you broaden their horizons. One thing that she did do or does do sometimes, which really I just don't get it. You know, what really what rose during lockdown when kids were watching other kids play, doing videos of playing with their toys. They started watching. I was like, what is this? And they're like, oh, we're just watching some boy playing, like my son, my middle son. You know what I'm talking about, Karis. He's got a Thomas the Tank Engine
Hmm.
sets, loads of them. And he was watching this video of some kid blowing up his Thomas the Tank Engine sets and doing all kinds of crazy things. I'm like, why are you watching this boy play with his? You've got them in the boxes right there. He goes, yeah, but he's blowing them up and I want to see them get blown up. I don't want to blow mine up, you know. But he was playing with them in the garden and everything. So, but I find that crazy. They do videos and they're watching other children play with toys. Like, why? It's crazy. But if they don't have that interaction, I don't know.
It's sophisticated marketing and high level coveting. That's I would not let my no. You're not watching that commercial for somebody else to be like, and all the other ones that were just trying to, and everybody. But yes, it's just with this the attack right now. Um, on our while as we're watching, we have to understand that they are planning for what. So what do we do for our children? In one country we have children who are starving from knowledge, and in another side of the country, children who have too much knowledge that they've just fallen off. They don't even care.
Hmm. Yeah, there. And I was having that discussion um with my children that were in high school. Now I have one daughter in high school and I have one son in junior high. And for them, it's listening to their discussions, it's very sobering to really understand how they interpret the world. Because I'm going to tell you, they're really conditioned to not really interpret things. They're conditioned to not understand what's happening. This has been the social conditioning. The social conditioning is literally, it's like a Logan's run. I don't care about the outside world. I just know that when I make it to 30, I get to go up in the little bubble machine. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of what it is. I don't have any type of a desire to, you know, to do things or to do this or to do that. Yeah, I get it, but that's not the biggest thing for me. You know, for them, social media is like the biggest thing. I want to be a social media influencer because, you know, I could do this, I could do things. And, you know, granted, my son says, my oldest, he's like, yeah, I can do, you know, computer programming. I'm like, all right, you know, I encourage that. You know, with machine learning and things of that nature, I encourage that. But with everything else, these kids don't want to be, you know, or have a desire for any type of professionalism. And I can honestly understand that because what's going to happen with AI? AI is going to tell you how to walk, it's going to tell you how to talk, it's going to tell you how to move. AI is literally going to be their digital slave master.
Well, I also think it's because of the fact that we've now entered into, they're what are they called? Gen Z and alphas. Like, this is like it's like they're being told, you're the end. They feel it. We feel it. That we feel that there's nothing else. People have just become, they've lost interest in everything. And I've got to say, I kind of find it very difficult just to do certain things. Aside from the things that I know that I have to do, it's like just being bothered about the things that are in Babylon. It's like I don't care anymore. And I feel that way, knowing that there's light at the end of the tunnel for us. Now imagine how some of these Gentiles feel. And imagine how some of our people and our children feel who are not awake. You know, it's like, I can't imagine. And we've all felt that, you know, we've all felt that despair of things that are to come on the earth, as the scripture says. But the only thing that's kept us is because we know that beyond that thing that is coming on the earth, there is the greater thing that's coming, and that is our deliverance, our restoration. That's the only thing that keeps us, because just as Jacob says, it's like, if we didn't have these promises, I don't know what I'd do. I don't know what I'd do. I would feel so much despair. That's why I look at those who like, oh, I don't believe in the Bible and it's a white man's book and blah, blah. I'm like, so where do you go for that?
Where's your hope?
Yeah.
Where's your hope? Where's your
hope? Where's your comfort? Where's your strength? Where's your rock? It just depends on me. And when things get so beyond you, you know, they reach out to others. And what happens when everybody else is feeling just as crappy as you? Because we're heading into that. If people can't see that, then I don't know. But I can't imagine, and I wouldn't want to. I wouldn't want to be that. You know, as long as I can remember, I've always had an understanding of who the Most High is, only to obviously a point where, in terms of Christianity. But I always remembered that just reading the Bible, it kind of gave me a sense of comfort and relief that no matter what, God loved me, quote unquote, and Jesus came and died for me, quote unquote. And that's another thing I wanted to just quickly touch on. I'm only going to be brief. It really does. It pees me off. It pees me off to know that we loved Jesus. We loved God. We loved everything that they put in front of us and told us. When they told us that he came, sorry guys, give me a second, where he came to die for our sins and so on and so forth, and it doesn't matter who you are and what you look like. They sold us that lie. I mean, there was truth because it was the truth beyond the lie, but they sold us that lie, and we went along. We didn't care. We loved us. Because we understood that. We knew that love. We wanted that love. We wanted that. But they never did. And it's so hard for them to understand this We loved him regardless of what he looks like. Why can't you do the same after you were the ones preaching that mess to us? But you can't even do it yourself. Now you've been given the opportunity to show and tell. You told it, so show it. The Most High has literally put that in your lap. You can't see that? Everything that you said you was, he said, okay, prove it. And you're failing. You're failing miserably. But anyway, that's all I wanted to say. And I'm going to have to
Well,
go
that's
because
big.
my phone's going to die. So I'll be in the chat just listening until it's gone.
Before you leave,
But shalom, everyone. Yeah,
you
so
had a,
go. What was I going to say?
yeah, you had a wonderful accent yesterday, and so it made me to think while you were talking. You know, the one, even an IET and with Russia being there, Russia and IET have always had, and I'm gonna say Ethiopia too, has always represented the Black Madonna. That's the one thing that they've had. So that's interesting that you should say it because not everybody is, there's a remnant, but especially with Japheth and Edom, they're definitely not coming. Not everybody. Uh, they're not coming, but maybe there'll be like a tiny, tiny remnant. So I was just thinking about what you were saying, and just thinking about Elohim and wisdom, and that wisdom being wise and listening to wisdom and listening to her voice. I'm just saying it's based off of
Mm.
knowledge. But I was thinking, wait a minute, who is in that? Who is in that? It's Russia by Cuba, which is next to IET, and just the Most High let me
I was
see
going
that
to ask you
the
that.
Black
That's what I was
Madonna.
going to ask you that next, Sister New being me, because I wanted to kind of delve a little bit more into the relationships of the Caribbean island chains, especially CARICOM and things of that nature, and what that does, because Cuba really is the door to the Caribbean.
It's true, and culturally too, people do not realize that the Cuban culture, and they like the music, but uh 60 if not 70% of a lot of there's a large base of Haitiano Cubanos, and that's why the culture is so strong. Not saying there hasn't been a lot of mixing and all that stuff, but there's a huge, when you're talking about the history with the Haitian Haitian Revolution and the relationships that Haiti made with other islands and other Latin American countries pre them selling us out. You know what I'm saying? Pre the embargo. When I'm talking about 18 pre post 1804, but Haiti was really helping to get other countries freed. Latin America, Bolivia, Cuba. We've always had a really big connection, but Cuba and Haiti have always been fairly close, especially in culture. And Cuba has always helped Haiti out with doctors. So there's always been a relationship there, not only culturally, but let's say spiritually, if we can say that. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Um, and the music as well. So I'm just seeing that it's still family in these islands. There's still family in these islands, really tight knit. They might have dropped some of us off at IET, some in Cuba, some others in Trinidad, some people all the way in Martinique, and then some off in New Orleans or Florida. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
uh, uh, I'm just seeing. Anyway, sorry, Karis. It just was you just opened up a box for me that just got me in like a whole nother realm. But Cuba, yeah, I'm just seeing with looking at the Most High, just he's making moves happen, and ones are coming to the forefront. But when I'm looking culturally at all these countries, that's the one thing that they do know. So if you have a black mother, then definitely the Mashiach must be black, and that has been something that's been hidden, especially in again, we're not going to get too much into the voodoo because I don't know voodoo like that. But what I like to say, it's just very, very, very watered down Hebrew, just like Christianity is so far from the original Christianity. But I think there's still elements, and there's etymology, and there's different words, and different um, African stories from the Igbo nation that still is in remembrance with the Iceland people as well as with the Cuban people. So, and as you can see, Russia, just like, they're pretty open about what they know. So I think that could be spiritually, socially, and culturally what's happening in the undercurrent.
Yeah. And so I wanted to really, kind of touch in so folks really understand this in terms of and I'm gonna stay kind of a little bit more on the political topic. We can drill down into the esoteric, later on. Uh politically speaking, politically speaking, this presents a problem for the US when it comes to the Caribbean nations, seeing that you have Russian ships being docked in Havana. That is a loss of, honestly, it's a loss of confidence for a lot of these countries that are very, very US focused, US centric. I.e., we just had somebody on here the other day. We're talking about, Trinidad and Tobago, right? If you're a Trinidadian, you know, the Trinidadians, they are. I think that was Sister Shonda was talking about this. The Trinidadians, they get a lot more stuff. No, it wasn't. This was a conversation I had offline. Sorry. But I had this conversation offline. The Trinidadians get a lot more stuff imported from the United States than most nations in the Caribbean. And so the nations in the Caribbean actually get their imports or get some things from the United States from the Trinidadians. So there's a real dynamic here in terms of how people are looking at the United States, because they're now starting to see, wait a second, if this is happening over in Cuba, what then are we getting ready to be shielded from?
That's interesting. That's interesting that you said that. That's very interesting about Trinidad and Tobago, because the one thing I know about Port of Spain and just Trinidad and Tobago, but Port of Spain alone, it has one of the largest admixtures of everybody,
Mhm.
in this new world expansion or with this experiment. But the thing about them is that they're still black as blackety black.
Mhm.
Do you understand what I'm saying? They
Oh
still
yeah.
are. So that's very interesting that you said that. And that, but the goods going into that, I'm wondering if that has to do with because of the um economic trade for so long, and that the fact that because they're so mixed, Trinidadians know how to speak. Trinidadians know how to they know how to make it happen. I can say one thing. Trinidadians know they are some world citizens. But don't get them mad though.
Yeah, well, but also here's the thing. Also, are they more controlled, right? Are they more controllable per se? And some can argue that that may be the reason why they get, favorable trade and things of that nature. It could be that way. I don't know. I'm not in, Caribbean culture like that. I really don't.
No, and I think, and I'm just gonna. This is just my, guesstimation. Is I think it could be, it's language, right?
Hmm.
It's who the colonizers are. We're francophone, we're anglophone, we have Spanish speaking people. I think a lot of times, especially with Trinidad, I think there's a large admixture of Indian people too, right? So that could be a cultural thing. Maybe they just know how to get along to get along, and it's just the way they. So I'm just looking at it also from a culture, because remember, we all were scattered, and then still had to deal with the enculturation of where we were at and forgetting who we are, and then by migration, whether by choice, by hook, crook, economics, you know, even here as a Caribbean person, we still have to deal with that enculturation that a lot of us are still, battling here in the United States. So I think it is kind of like a big mix up. That's why it's called Babylon, right? It's confusion, and we need to go back home and focus on our kingdom, Yeshua guided kingdom, and the Torah and the law, which is what everybody's trying to do, but they've perverted it in so many ways. Everyone's trying to copy Yahweh Elohim's way, but add their own little way. So it's time for us. We are going back home, and it is coming to a close. So I think it's a great movie. Like some of my friends say, we ready for this film to end and for the producers' credits to start rolling. You know what I'm saying?
You
We
can get
want
up
it to
out the seats, right?
Paris.
We can
We
actually
got
get up
the
out the movie
extras.
theater, start living our lives, get up out that movie theater, start, getting errands done. Oh,
Well,
but
we
yeah.
thank you. I thank you. And I'm not going to keep you, but I want to say thank you. Thank the family just for keeping everybody's eyes open, ears open. But something I think, if everybody's going through it, this is the Shavuot time, right? So we've been counting down the Omer, the days since Passover, and that is happening. The Most High's clock does not, uh, it's still running, and we're still on the clock. And that's why we're feeling a lot of this. The world is feeling a lot of this as we're coming to the counting down of the Omar, you know. Um, so thank you so much for being here for us. And I just would let everyone know, just Enoch chapter 45 is very encouraging. I say 45 to 47. That is a wonderful, blessed re-beginning, because the apocalypse means the end of evil, right? So we looking forward to the end of the evil day, and looking forward to our glorious day with our Mashiach and our brothers and sisters, and our patriarchs and matriarchs that we've read about and are trying to live out. Give thanks.
All right. Thank you, Sister New, being me. Yeah, so much to understand and so much to break down, because let me tell you what's happening is that the Caribbean is now seeing this, right? So from Venezuela to Brazil to the islands, the Barrier Islands, St. Thomas, Virgin Islands, St. Lucia, I don't care what island you come from. You're now starting to see something is going on in terms of the order of things. And we have to look at this from all the perspectives, because these dynamics, they change from day to day, hour to hour, sometimes minutes to minute. I'm gonna have to tell you, family, I it takes a while, because we see this thing happen. Matter of fact, it was told. This here's the thing about this quote unquote exercise that was going on. This exercise wasn't this exercise was a direct response from literally what they said and what they did last week during D-Day. When somebody had a boo-boo on stage. in front of the whole wide world. I don't care what you call it. Y'all done seen your older relatives, and you could tell when they had a boo-boo. Somebody get Grandma Rose. Come here, Grandma Rose. Let's get you cleaned up. Somebody get Great Aunt Catherine. Somebody get Uncle Joe. Come here, Uncle Joe. Come on, let's get you cleaned up, Uncle Joe. Y'all know what I'm talking about, man. Stop. That man bent over. He said, "I can't take it." Oh my goodness. Did somebody make Boo Boo? Who made Stinky? Who made I'm sorry. That was more than a fart right there. I'm sorry. Oh my goodness. That was embarrassing. Now you can understand cursed is a nation. Oh man. Understand what Psalms and Proverbs is all about. Cursed is a nation. So less than a week later, now Russia's on the doorsteps. Come on now. Less than a week later. Nobody was talking about exercises in Cuba. Stop playing. Go back to any type of news article 3-4 months ago. No, what? That would have been madness 3-4 months ago. Now Russia's there on the doorsteps. Gives a new meaning to D-Day. Yeah. Yeah, juicy fruit, skid row politics. That's for real. D-Day don't mean what it means. Those are those depends days. I make stinky. I make stink. Oh, I remember my kids were potty training. They had that feeling, and it was like, all right. I would always say, no worries. We'll do a good time. Thank you for letting me know. Because at least they're understanding the sensation and the things of that nature. Now you done lived your whole grown behind life, and you can't control nothing. Diaper day. There it is. But that's the personification of America losing its mind. That was the personification. All right, get Grandpa off the stage. America's done lost its mind. Did we not just read that literally in Jeremiah chapter 50 yesterday with the king of Babylon? Oh my goodness. which actually begs me to wonder, in the White House, does he just go around the Oval Office in the White House and just adult depends with no pants? His suit pants are drawstring. I don't know. I'm just wondering. And see, when you're looking at that, you're looking at incompetence. And when you're seeing incompetence, guess what? The nation's incompetence. That's who y'all believe in? Yeah, I'm withdrawing my money. Nobody keeps their money in the bank with somebody that's lost their minds and certainly lost their facilities. Because you don't know what type of decisions they're making. Come on. I mean, that's just bottom line. Continue to bank with us. Continue to do business with us. Don't act like y'all didn't smell that boo boo I just smelled. Oh, well, you just have to grow up. It's a natural process for everybody. No, I'm sorry. That's where we are at in this. Everybody's lost their minds. But that's where this was going. You really can't wield a hammer or wield a sword or be stout for battle when your leaders are defecating on themselves. Now, I don't know how the Most High feels about movies, but it seems like we're watching a drama, a comedy, a horror show, and an action event all at the same time. I mean, this movie has it all. And it's so sad that the reality is, if you do not laugh about this, you're going to cry. Now, think about these folks that said, we got to take our country back. It's going to start to get really wild real quick. And like I've always said before, on this channel, on these broadcasts, I'm more afraid of what will happen here in the United States than anything that anybody pulls on up. I'm not afraid of the subs. I'm afraid that when they truly come to the realization of what they're dealing with, they're going to lose their minds. I mean, just think about it. So, whoever's running this, however this thing is being ran, I mean, think about this before I close, but think about this. This is the ultimate form of humiliation. If you thought that this thing was being ran by people that, was all about the benefit of the United States and blah, 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 look who they're putting in front of the people as the leaders, quote unquote. That's crazy. You can't make this up, family. Because what this leads to is, in order for a captivity to occur, a captivity to happen, the world has to look at that nation that they're about to throw into captivity as subhuman or very, very dehumanized. It's a dehumanization process going on. And whoever's orchestrating this and doing this, man, they know what they're doing. So, see, when people lose respect, they take their money and they flee. And if you didn't know how what Saudi Arabia is doing, that should be a tall tale sign that they're no longer putting their money on their quote unquote the winner. And they're dropping the dollar faster than the turd that Biden dropped during the D-Day. That's all I gotta say. Sorry, family. You know I get ignorant. Oh my goodness. All right, family. I gotta get up on out of here. Oh. Oh. Oh my goodness. Oh. So, family, you know I'm about to get shackled on that comment by the YouTube AI overlord algorithm. If you'd like to support this channel, you can do so at $ COVAWK COVAWK. Thank you for your all support. Family, next week, I will be headed over to DC to attend an event in DC on behalf of Quest to Unite Africa. We'll be discussing more about that tomorrow. Family, things are really moving in the background. Continue to pray for us. Continue to pray for Quest to Unite Africa and what we are doing that the Most High is allowing us. These moving mountains, family. So we've made it through the first round of negotiations. There's 2 rounds. We made it through the first round, and then we have another round we're working on out. And that creates a bigger vehicle of sorts. I gotta stop, family. I gotta stop. I just have to say, family, I hate to be the person doing that dry cleaning that day. The presidential launderer is under strict confidentiality orders. Oh, I hate to see what those presidential bed sheets look like. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. Man, when them world leaders be going to the White House, they be like, they done turned this White House into literally a nursing home. the, the world's most expensive nursing home. Oh, I'm investing in stocks and depends and wet wipes. Yeah, you're right. You're right, Tony Yahoo. Oh my goodness. Well, just like a lingering present in the toilet, I'm gonna have to flush this stream down the drain. So with that, family, please join us tomorrow as we discuss Quest to Unite Africa discussions live. So with that, family, shalom, salama, siemi, shalom, peace and blessings, yasharel, deuce, deuce. Oh. Shalom, family.